It was supposed to be just another tense but predictable day on set, cameras rolling, cast members sipping drinks, and producers waiting for the next spark of drama. But when Jasmine walked in, holding a crisp white envelope like it was a weapon, the entire room went still. Kirk froze mid-laugh. Rashida's eyes narrowed, and you could practically feel the temperature drop. Jasmine didn't waste a second. She crossed the floor with deliberate steps, the envelope clutched in her perfectly manicured hand, and stopped right in front of Kirk. "You've been running your mouth for months," she said, her voice steady but deadly, "telling everyone I'm lying. Well, let's see you lie your way out of this." She tore open the envelope, pulled out a stack of papers, and slapped them onto the nearest table. In bold, unmistakable letters, the header read, "Paternity test results." The cameras zoomed in. Everyone leaned closer. And there it was, the line no one could spin, no one could twist. Probability of paternity, 99.999%. Gasps ripped through the room. Kirk's jaw clenched, his face a mask of shock and fury. Rashida's hand flew to her mouth. The producers were frozen, torn between stepping in and letting the scene burn itself into reality TV history. But Jasmine wasn't done. She looked Kirk dead in the eye and said, "Now tell them you're not the father." And just like that, the secret Kirk swore would never come out was now public. And the fallout was only beginning. The room was dead silent except for the faint hum of the cameras. The paternity report sat in the middle of the table like a live grenade, bold black text screaming the truth that Kirk had spent months, maybe years, trying to bury. Kirk's eyes darted from the paper to Jasmine, then to Rashida. His lips parted, like he wanted to speak, but nothing came out. Rashida's gaze was locked on him, her jaw tight, her knuckles white where her hands gripped the arm of her chair. Jasmine leaned forward, her voice cutting through the tension like glass. "Go ahead, Kirk. Say something. All those months you called me a liar, told the blogs I was just trying to get attention. You've been running from this moment, but here it is." Kirk swallowed hard, his voice finally finding its way out. This doesn't mean anything. You could have faked this." A chorus of gasps erupted from the cast members watching nearby. "Faked it!" Jasmine barked out a sharp laugh. It came straight from the lab. Chain of custody, witnesses, the whole 9 yards. Hey, guess what? They swabbed you, remember? Or did you forget that day you tried to play it cool at the clinic? One of the producers stepped in cautiously. "Okay, let's just know." Rashida snapped, her voice steady but ice cold. "We're not just anything. We're going to hear exactly what this is and why my husband thought it was okay to keep it from me." The crew froze. Rashida didn't raise her voice often, but when she did, everyone knew not to interrupt. Jasmine slid the report across the table toward Rashida. "Read it for yourself. Page 2 has the signatures from the lab techs." Rashida took the papers, her eyes scanning each line. The silence stretched on, broken only by the faint shuffle of cameras repositioning. When she reached the probability line, her eyes flicked back up to Kirk. 99.999%, she read aloud. "That's not a maybe, Kirk. That's not a 'we need more tests.' That's a fact." Kirk shifted uncomfortably. "I was going to tell you when." Rashida cut in sharply. When the kid graduated high school, a ripple of shocked laughter rolled through the room, not from humor, but from disbelief at the rawness of her words. Jasmine wasn't letting go. "You had every chance to come clean. But instead, you called me a liar, you dragged my name through the mud, and you made me look crazy. Now the truth's out, and there's no coming back from it." Kirk's voice rose, defensive. "You don't know the full story." "Oh, I know enough." Jasmine fired back. "I know you've been paying for things quietly, school fees, clothes, trips, but keeping it under wraps so you could pretend your life was clean. You thought you could hide this forever." Well, surprise. Rashida's lawyer, who had been standing in the background, finally stepped forward. "Mr. Frost, I need to inform you that in a legal separation or divorce proceeding, Undisclosed dependents and financial obligations are considered relevant. Failure to disclose them can be seen as intentional deceit. Kirk glared at Jasmine. You think this makes you look good? You're just trying to blow up my life. Jasmine tilted her head, a slow smile creeping across her face. Oh, baby, I'm not trying. I already did. The tension in the room was suffocating. Cast members shifted in their seats, whispering. The production crew looked torn, intervene, or let this become one of the most explosive moments the franchise had ever captured. Then, as if on cue, Rashida pushed back her chair and stood. She walked around the table slowly, her heels clicking against the floor. When she reached Kirk, she held the report out in front of him. Look at it, she said. I've seen it, he muttered. No, look at it, she repeated, her voice low but fierce. This is your child. And the only reason I'm finding out is because Jasmine had the guts to put it in my hands. Not because you were man enough to tell me yourself. The room went still. Kirk didn't reach for the papers. Instead, he glanced away, his face hardening. That's fine, Rashida said, dropping the report onto his lap. But don't think for a second this conversation is over. 'Cause next one we have, it's going to be in front of my lawyer. Jasmine smirked, clearly satisfied. Glad I could help, she said, turning toward the door. But before she could leave, Kirk's voice cut through the air. You think you've won something here? You've just made it worse for yourself. Jasmine stopped in her tracks, her back still to him. Worse for me? No. This is all on you, and if you think this is the only piece of paper I've got, you're dumber than I thought. The cameras caught Rashida's expression perfectly. A mix of fury, betrayal, and a spark of something else. Determination. Because now the game had changed. This wasn't just about gossip or embarrassment. This was about proof. Legal proof. And in the world they lived in, that was the kind of thing that could ruin a man's image forever. As Jasmine left, the murmur of whispers turned into a buzz. Phones came out. Texts started flying. Within minutes, word would spread beyond that. Room and the fallout would start hitting social media like wildfire, and Kirk. He sat there, staring at the report in his lap. Knowing the secret he guarded so fiercely was now the headline. Everyone would be talking about by nightfall. It didn't even take an hour. By the time Kirk left the set that afternoon, the DNA test wasn't just a piece of paper in his lap, it was a viral headline. Somehow, someone had snapped a photo of the results while they sat on the table. And the image was already making the rounds on Instagram, blogs, Twitter threads, and Facebook groups. The post that lit the fuse came from a popular gossip page with millions of followers. A grainy but clear enough shot of the report was paired with the caption, Jasmine wasn't lying. Kirk's the daddy. #SecretBabyGate. Within minutes, the comments section turned into a war zone. She'd been telling the truth this whole time, one user wrote. Rashida girl, leave him. Another commented, racking up thousands of likes. Even bigger pages picked it up. Screenshots of the test spread like wildfire, each post dragging Kirk harder than the last. Memes popped up, comparing him to famous TV dads caught in scandals. GIFs of Rashida's infamous side-eye flooded timelines by the time Kirk got home. His phone was buzzing nonstop. Missed calls from friends, texts from family, and a string of notifications from producers warning him the network was monitoring the situation closely. Meanwhile, Rashida sat at her kitchen table, scrolling through the chaos. She wasn't smiling, but there was a cold sense of vindication in her eyes. For years, every time whispers about Jasmine came up, she'd been forced to either defend her marriage or dodge the topic. Now, the proof was out there for everyone to see, and it wasn't coming from her lips. Her phone lit up with a call from her lawyer. We need to meet, he said without preamble. That test changes everything, legally and financially. If he's been hiding a dependent, especially while making public statements denying it, that's considered intentional deception. We can use this." Rashida didn't hesitate. Set it up for tomorrow, while she was locking in her next move. Jasmine was doing her own victory lap, carefully calculated, of course. She posted a selfie to Instagram, her caption reading, "Some of y'all owe me an apology, but I'll settle for my child getting what they deserve." The comments poured in, mostly in support, with fans calling her brave and a real one for standing her ground. But not everyone was on her side. Some accused her of going public for clout. Others claimed she should have handled it privately. Jasmine didn't respond to those comments. But her next story made her position clear. A black screen with white text that read, "Lies don't age well, and truth don't need defending." Kirk, on the other hand, went dark on social media, a move that only fueled speculation. Without his side of the story out there, fans filled the silence with their own narratives. Screenshots of old interviews, where he denied Jasmine's claims, resurfaced, now paired with sarcastic captions and laughing emoji eyes. It wasn't just the public that was reacting. Celebrities and industry peers were chiming in too. One rapper posted, "Ain't no running from that DNA though." While a reality TV star tweeted, "Lesson of the day, handle your business before someone handles it for you." By the next morning, entertainment blogs had taken it mainstream. Headlines screamed, "Kirk Frost busted by DNA test. Secret. Baby confirmed," and Jasmine drops bombshell receipts in love and hip-hop scandal. The story wasn't just in gossip circles anymore. It was trending on national news sites. Producers from the show saw opportunity. A meeting was scheduled to discuss whether to feature the scandal in an upcoming special episode. Behind the scenes, they were already negotiating for an exclusive sit-down with both Rashida and Jasmine. The network knew this could be ratings gold. But in Kirk's camp, panic was setting in. His business partner texted him, "This is bad for endorsements. Brands are already asking questions." Another message came from a mutual friend warning him that a former fling had reached out to Jasmine, offering more stories if she wanted them. At noon, Rashida met with her lawyer in a quiet midtown office. The lawyer laid it out plainly. "This is the leverage we've been waiting for. If we press forward, we can request full financial disclosure, including all accounts and assets he's been keeping off the books. If he's been paying support under the table or making large cash withdrawals for Jasmine or the child, it will show up." Rashida's eyes narrowed. "And if it does, then you have grounds for a significant settlement increase and potentially damages for emotional distress if we prove he lied publicly while you were defending him." For the first time in months, Rashida felt the upper hand. But there was still one piece missing. She needed to know exactly how deep Kirk's lies went. And Jasmine. She was holding more than just the DNA test. Later that night, Jasmine went live on Instagram. Over 20,000 people tuned in within minutes, waiting for her to speak. She didn't yell, she didn't cry. She just leaned into the camera and said, "You think this is the end? Nah, that test was just the appetizer. The main course is still in my pocket." She reached into her purse and pulled out a thick envelope, holding it up for the screen. "This right here. These are the receipts y'all been waiting for. And if Kirk keeps running his mouth, I'll make sure every one of you sees them." The comments exploded. People were begging her to open it right there. But Jasmine smiled, shook her head, and ended the live. By midnight, hashtags like #KirkDNA and #SecretBabyGate were trending in the top 10 nationwide. Blogs speculated about what could be in that envelope. Financial records, more paternity tests, photos. No one knew, but everyone wanted to find out. And while the internet buzzed, Kirk sat alone in his home office, scrolling through the chaos on his phone. Every notification was another blow to his reputation. The DNA test had cracked the door open. But whatever Jasmine had in that envelope could blow it off the hinges. The morning after, Jasmine's Instagram Live felt like the calm before a hurricane. The city was buzzing, blogs were running exclusive speculation pieces. And gossip podcasts dedicated entire episodes to what could be in that envelope. She waved at the camera. By noon, the calm shattered. Jasmine posted a cryptic Instagram story, just a single sentence in bold white letters on a black background. You wanted receipts. You're about to get them. Minutes later, she went live again. Over 40,000 people flooded the stream instantly. Her hair was sleek, her makeup flawless, and she sat at a spotless glass dining table. In front of her was the same thick envelope from the night before. I told y'all this wasn't over. She began, her voice calm, almost conversational. Everybody wanted to call me a liar, a clout chaser, a bitter baby mama. Today, we're going to put all that to rest permanently. She slowly opened the envelope and pulled out a stack of papers. What you're looking at right now are financial statements. Not just for me, not just for the baby, but for every single cash payment Kirk has made to keep this situation quiet. The first page was a list of wire transfers from Kirk's business account to a private trust under the name of a mutual friend, the same friend Jasmine claimed was the go-between for hush money. Dates and amounts lined up perfectly with key moments in the show's filming schedule, conveniently avoiding periods when Kirk and Rashida were shooting together. This right here, Jasmine said, holding the page up to the camera, is the $25,000 he sent the week before we started season filming. That was to make sure I didn't accidentally show up on set pregnant. And this, she flipped to another page, is the $10,000 he sent me after Rashida's birthday party when people were already whispering. The chat exploded. People were tagging Rashida, the network, even sponsors of Kirk's businesses. Screenshots were flying across Twitter within seconds. Then Jasmine pulled out the bombshell, a signed agreement. This, she said, is a legal document Kirk had me sign when the baby was born. It says that if I keep quiet publicly, he'll cover expenses and set up a college fund. But here's the thing, that fund never got set up. Instead, he's been moving that money somewhere else. She held up the last page, a bank statement showing large withdrawals from the supposed college fund account, routed into an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. This ain't just a deadbeat dad situation, Jasmine said, her tone sharpening. This is fraud, this is deception. And I've got every scrap of proof anyone needs. The live stream peaked at 65,000 viewers. In the comments, people were demanding that Rashida leave Kirk, calling for the network to cut him, and even tagging law enforcement accounts. Meanwhile, in a quiet midtown cafe, Rashida's phone was lighting up with constant notifications. She wasn't watching the live herself, her lawyer was, and every new screenshot was being forwarded to her inbox. The two sat side by side, scrolling through the evidence Jasmine had just unleashed on the internet. This is more than a personal scandal now, her lawyer said grimly. These are documented transactions. If he's been using business accounts for personal hush money, that could trigger tax investigations. And if he diverted funds from a child's trust, that's potentially criminal. Rashida sipped her coffee slowly, her mind racing. So, not only has he been lying to me and hiding a kid, he's been playing games with money that could get both of us in trouble if my name's attached. Her lawyer nodded. The sooner we move, the better. We can file to separate your finances immediately. That way, any legal blowback lands squarely on him. Back at Kirk's house, the atmosphere was tense. He was pacing his office, his phone pressed to his ear as he barked at someone on the other end. Shut it down. I don't care how. Get her to delete it. Offer her more money if you have to. He stopped mid-sentence when a notification popped up on his screen. A new tag from a major gossip blog showing Jasmine's live with the caption, Kirk's hush money trail exposed. The damage was already done. Within hours, #Kirk hush money was trending. Fans were dissecting every line of the documents, making timelines, and even digging up old episodes to match Jasmine's payment dates to suspicious on-screen absences or sudden story changes. That night, the network released a brief statement. We are aware of the ongoing personal matter involving cast member Kirk Frost. We are currently reviewing the situation internally. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make it clear they were watching closely as the sun set. Jasmine posted one more video, this time not live. It was short and direct. Kirk, I told you not to play with me. You could have just told the truth. Now the truth's telling itself. The clip went viral in under an hour. Back in her kitchen, Rashida stared at her phone. She wasn't smiling, she wasn't crying, she was planning. The DNA test had confirmed the child. The financial receipts had confirmed the deceit. And now, the only question left was how she wanted to end this quietly in court. Or loudly in front of the whole world. But one thing was certain. Kirk had no moves left that wouldn't cost him dearly. And somewhere across town, Jasmine sat. Back in her chair, her phone buzzing with interview requests from every outlet imaginable. She didn't respond yet. She knew she had the upper hand. And she wasn't done using it. And there it is. The scandal Kirk Frost thought he could. Barry has exploded in a way that no one can spin, edit, or walk back. Jasmine didn't just drop a DNA test that proved paternity beyond any doubt. She brought the paper trail, the hush money receipts, and the signed agreement that shatters every excuse he's ever made. What started as whispers is now an open wound, bleeding all over social media, the press, and potentially even law enforcement files. The internet is already calling it one of the biggest reality TV betrayals in years. Hashtags are trending, fans are making timelines, and even the network is reviewing the situation. Rashida now has the legal ammunition to not only separate herself from Kirk financially, but to hit him where it really hurts, his career, his image, and his wallet. And if Jasmine's calm confidence is any sign, she's still holding more cards. So the question is, what happens next? Will Rashida quietly dismantle Kirk's empire behind the scenes? Or will she make her own public move that finishes what Jasmine started? Will the network cut ties? Or try to turn this chaos into ratings gold? And most importantly, what else is in Jasmine's possession that could make this scandal even uglier? If you want the next wave of receipts the second they drop, hit that like button right now. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Kirk done for? Or does he have one last play left? And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, because when the next chapter hits, you'll want to be here first to watch the whole thing burn.